Welcome along. I've put on the thumbnail that's entertainment. Now that's entertainment, and that for me, I thought that was a fantastic game yesterday. By the way, welcome to all of you who are here live in the live chat. Definitely comment to me, and I'll read out your comments. And if you're watching this, obviously later on tonight or tomorrow, whenever, you know, you're just going to have to pull up the chat to see what I'm saying and everything else. But we've got a Facebook as well. Okay, so we've got Emma Kay. He's here on Facebook. Hi, Emma. Freddie Abrams here now then, Lee. I'm liking the hair and the goatee. You look like an Italian stallion. Well, I'll take that all day long. Thank you, Freddie. Stephen Wood said, take the draw. Yes, indeed. I mean, one of the things that we were all talking about, and I'm going to take this SIM card out on my phone so that somebody doesn't start messing about and phoning me and all the rest. So let me just take this SIM card out. It's an absolute net, honestly. Every time I go on a live stream, somebody starts making me phone call people. So that's it. So that's my SIM out. So for anybody who wants to do that, tough, you can't. Yes, I take the draw. I mean, one of the things that we were complaining about so much under Critch was that even though we were winning at home, we were not being entertained, and it was awful football. And even though we're not winning at home, that is the kind of football you want to watch. I mean, it was just, again, if we can just cut out this 10 minutes of madness after half time, we'd be really up there. I don't know what Steve Bruce says to him at half time, whether he mentions it and that gets in the mind. I don't know, obviously, because I don't know what's said in the dressing room, but the fact that we continue to let goals in and fall asleep in the second half, and generally Blackpool are like this, aren't they? We're kind of good in the first half and normally not, you know, not quite as good in the second half. But I actually thought yesterday, because we were battling to come back from 2-0 down, I thought we were good in the second half. And I just thought it was a great, entertaining game. I had a fantastic guest on it. If you've not watched it yet, the video is brilliant. I had Graham Oates on yesterday, and he was absolutely fabulous. Emma Kay says 2 fantastic subs yesterday. Yes, indeed, indeed. And, you know, 2 of them scoring, you know, it was great as well, isn't it, that they both got on the score sheet. So, you know, they've both come from clubs where they weren't doing so well. You know, I read the Stoke City thing on Niall, the Stoke City forums on Niall Ennis, and they were basically saying they'd drive him to Blackpool themselves. You know, they were really happy to get rid of him. So but he looks a good player to me. He looked really good, and his finish was spectacular. I mean, Beasley was unlucky, wasn't it, coming back off the bar. You know, he did all the work, won the ball, you know, he deserved a goal, but even so, and what a scene when that goal went in. You know, if you watch the highlights, the North Stand must have been amazing yesterday when that went in. I'd have loved to have been on the North Stand at that sort of time. That's when I kind of wish I was on the North Stand. But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking really good. Freddie Evans said, it's so refreshing to see exciting, entertaining football. We need to eradicate these crazy 5 minutes of conceding goals, but brilliant signings and definitely heading in the right direction. Absolutely, Freddie. So I'm streaming today on Facebook, and I'm also on YouTube. So let's have a look what we've got on YouTube. Tommy97 on YouTube says, Lee, what a game. 2 great goals from us. Took my mum to the game yesterday, and I feel she brought the luck. Well, then she's got to come to every game. It's going to cost you a fortune, Tommy. You got to bring them along to every game. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the first half we should have been 2 goals up at least. I mean, we had Sonny Carey's, you know, shot just over the bar. There was Elkin Baggett's header, which just went wide. And there was a couple of other shots as well that went wide, and we just weren't on target. And those shots that just went wide, if they'd have been on target, would have gone in because the keeper was beat all ends up. On those, he just kind of watched the ball, and it was just went past the post. And if we'd have been on target in that first half, we would have definitely been 2. Well, we could have been 3 goals up. We'd be 4 goals up if we actually hit all 4 of those great chances. And they were on target, but they were just off target. I thought for the first 25 minutes, I thought Charlton contained us really well. And then after 25 minutes, I thought Blackpool really got on top. And we had all, you know, Charlton didn't, I don't think he had a save to make in the first half, if I remember rightly. I don't think there was a save to make, but you know, there was lots of good chances. You know, their keeper made a great save from CJ coming in. You know, got his legs in the way, and I just couldn't believe we weren't winning at half time. And then to go again to 2 goals down with basically Charlton's first 2 chances. They got a bit of luck, but we didn't clear. We didn't clear the ball well enough. And I think that's one of the things, if I was Steve Bruce, I will be working on the way that we get ourselves out of being penned back in, because we get penned back in and it's just, you know, you're watching it and we keep heading it back to them, and, you know, we'll have a Blackpool player, say 10 yards away, and we'll head it and it'll go like 15 yards right over the top of him, straight to a Charlton player. Or you're thinking, God, well, you know, just knock it down to the guy there, and we don't just get out of trouble. And that's our one Achilles heel, where you saw Charlton I thought they passed superbly at times. You know, they kept the ball really well, and it was an exciting game. I mean, they were part of it, and, you know, they contributed to that game, and it was, for me, it was a fantastic game. If you'd have gone as a neutral, it was a neutral's game, wasn't it? But for me, it was heart attack alley. Honestly, it really was. Gary Cronshaw is here. Hello, Gary with a double G. How are you doing? W&G fan says, Haley, I thought they'd never get a point out of that after conceding 2 goals. Well, I've got to admit, Graham was sat with me, and he'd become, you know, he really couldn't see us getting back into this game. He couldn't see any way that we could get back in, and, you know, we did. And I kept saying to him, you've got to have faith, Graham, you know, you've got to have faith, you've got to believe, you know. So we are good enough to get back in, but even I was thinking, oh, it's just not going to be our day, you know, especially when we missed a couple of really good chances to get the first one. But you know, Bestie always says it. He says it all the time. We always laugh about it because he always goes like 2-0's like the worst. You know, Gary Megson said that 2-0's the worst score in football, and quite often it does backfire on Blackpool when we're 2-0 up, and it's one of those. It is. If it goes wrong, it really is, because, you know, somebody gets a goal back and all of a sudden the whole thing changes. You then start to panic a little bit, and, you know, you can lose a game from 2-0 up quite easily. And was it a penalty if you're on the north stand? It was. I haven't seen the replay. I've only heard what people said, but it definitely touched his hand in the box. And you know, Wrexham got a penalty, didn't they, on New Year's Day, and it didn't even touch anybody's hand. So I know the rules have changed with handball. You know, with the sort of the ball to hand thing is gone, hasn't it? You know, watch VAR. You know, if it hits them on the hand, it's a penalty. So I don't really like VAR, but sometimes I think we don't get the rub of the green with these decisions, because if we'd have got that penalty, that would have been the perfect game, wouldn't it, yesterday? Let's just go back onto Facebook. Emma Kay says that Neil did well in League 2, in League One. Neil did. He did the first time. He didn't the second time particularly. I didn't think it was great, even though his win rate is pretty good. I just thought last season was terrible. I really did, and the fact that we ultimately failed on the last game of the season, doing exactly the same mistake that we'd done in how many away games last season did he play the same way and lose? And never changed it. Never thought of changing the formation. Never thought of maybe throwing somebody big up front. He just took like for like off, didn't he, every time, and the team just carried on playing in the same way, creating 0 chances or 1 chance away from home, and it was awful. And you just felt last season, if Critchley had gone for it a bit away from home, we'd have gone up automatically. Never mind blooming in the playoffs. We just lost so many stupid away games last season. We had a great chance last season to go up, I think. You know, and Burton Albion destroyed me on New Year's Day last year with Critch. Honestly, I was so upset about that. I can't remember. I think Blackpool won a game on New Year's Day. I can't remember when it was. It was when Alexander was in the ice skating show, and I couldn't go because he had to go and watch him in the ice skating show, and we won on New Year's Day, and I didn't go to that, and I don't think I've ever seen him win on New Year's Day. I can't remember ever. And I thought when I went to Burton Albion last season, I thought, this is it, I'm going, because we're going to win, you know what I mean? I'm going to go on Beezer, and I'm going to flipping watch Blackpool win on New Year's Day, because it's Burton Albion. They haven't won for about 13 games. They're absolutely garbage, and they scored a right raggy goal that just evaded everybody and went in the far corner, and then we just never looked like scoring. We just never ever looked like scoring against Burton Albion. So I'm hoping on Saturday that we put that right and we do win at Burton Albion. But and again, you know, they're just turning it around a little bit, aren't they? Gary Boyer taking over there. He's turning it around a bit, so it might not be as easy as we thought it was going to be. Freddie Abrams says, question, do you think we play better away this season because we have less possession and more focus on counter-attacking, as opposed to playing at home where we have more possession, allowing the away team to counter-attack? Something I was thinking about at the game yesterday. Yes, I think one of the things about Blackpool is that if teams are going to take it to us, we're good. You know, we really are good. If teams come and park the bus, we're not quite as good and we can't break them down, or we haven't been able to break them down. I kind of think now that rubbish teams that come to Bloomfield Road and try and park the bus are going to get stuffed, because they were a good side yesterday, Charlton, and they did, you know, they did attack us, and they didn't park the bus, did they? And they didn't go down, and they didn't cheat. And to be honest with you, I like that about Charlton. You know, even, you know, at the end they were still going for it, weren't they? They were away from home and they were going for it, and it was great to see. And when you go away, the home team has to attack you. They can't park the bus at home, you know. Or they don't generally park the bus. We may get a few occasions where teams are fighting for their lives at the bottom and they do park the bus, but most times, you know, the home team is going to attack you, and any team that attacks Blackpool are gonna find a tough game. And you know, you saw it with Exeter, didn't you? You know, they really fought for that Exeter, and they were just obviously softened up for Leyton Orient in the next game. They're giving everything to try and get something back against Blackpool. We're a big team. I don't know if you noticed that. You know, we're a very big team. There was a free kick in the second half, and we were lining up just on the edge of the box, and we had like Baggett in, we had Bloxham in, we had Casey in, and somebody else. There was 4 of them. And they just were like huge. I thought, there's no way you're going to get the ball over them and in. You know, if you're taking a free kick, there's no way you can possibly get that over and down in time, because they were so tall. Every one of them like 6'5" or 6'4". It was a really big wall. And I thought, blimey, we are huge. And, oh, sorry. Yeah, I just thought, wow, we're huge. And it's good to see. I like it. I like big, you know, tall players. Oh, you mean Ennis did well at Plymouth? Yes. Niall, not Neil. Yeah, yes, exactly. He did well in this division, and it's just a shame he's not been doing it at Stoke. Maybe I don't know. You don't know the reasons, do you? But he looked amazing yesterday. I thought he looked really dangerous. He looked a lot more dangerous than the lad that went back to Southampton, whose name has just gone completely out of my... Ballard. Yeah, Ballard. He looks a lot more dangerous than Ballard. And some of the times he picked up the ball and he was quick, wasn't he? He was all over, and he was in the perfect place to score the, you know, to get the rebound. And why was he there? You know, why was he in that position to get that rebound off the bar? Which is, for me, sometimes that is a sign of a striker that actually just knows where to be in the box at the time and kind of reads the game. And he's probably thinking, oh, you know, as he sees him, you know, hit one and he can see it maybe coming back off the bar. And I don't know, it's just like a predator instinct, isn't it, in a striker that you either got or you haven't. And he looks like he is a bit of a predator, so that's what we need. I like a tall striker, a small striker, you know, that combination, and a really tricky one. You know, we've had some great ones, haven't we, over the years? So what do you think? Do you agree? Do you like that as well? And what do you think of him? And what do you think of Silvestre? Is it Silvera? Silvera? Sammy Silvera, yeah, Sammy Silvera. Yeah, season 2021 was brilliant. It certainly was. WG fan. David Weldon said it was well worth a £23 ticket price. Probably the best game of the season so far. any chance you could invite Mickey Walsh as a guest? It would be great, wouldn't it? But I don't think he's very well. I mean, I think Graham was telling me he's had a, well, you probably noticed, yeah, I think he's had a stroke. And it probably wouldn't be very fair to have him sat, maybe on a nice, warm, sunny day. It would be great to have him on, wouldn't he? But I wouldn't want to put him through it, if you know what I mean, if he's not. Anyway, it's hard. I mean, I can ask. I can certainly ask. I don't know if anybody went to the Mickey Walsh celebration night. I was doing a disco on Friday, a wedding, so I couldn't go to that, or else we'd have got tickets to that. But yeah, it would be nice. It's really hard to get these former players on, to be honest. It's not the easiest thing, not the greatest idea I ever had, to be honest. I'm finding it increasingly frustrating to get them on, and it's a shame really, because I really wanted. I like it, you know, I do like it. I had a great day with Graham yesterday. He was a great guest, and he was really nervous about it all, and he was saying to me, oh, you know, nobody will want to, you know, who remembers me, kind of thing, and, you know, I'm back in the 1960s and all that, and I just thought, you're exactly, you know, what I wanted to do, go to the football with my dad, you know what I mean, and yeah, if my, you know, my dad was 77, he was 80, 80, when was he born? 1943, so he'd be like 81. So, you know, just 4 years older than my dad when he died. So it was pretty similar going, you know, as going to a game with my dad. But it was great, you know, really great. He enjoyed it, you know, he really loved it. Yeah, no, and he was shouting at them and all sorts of things. He's really passionate about Blackpool still, you know, he loves Blackpool. As you'll find out in the coffee chat when I do that one. W fans, I still remember last season where it had a similar result. You have to just explain to me what, I can't, I've lost the thread of what that means. You still remember last season where it had a similar result? If you can just explain when we had a similar result. Gary Cronshaw says, yes, indeed, Gary. You cheered up the whole of the Fylde Coast on Friday night that you beat the Nobbers 2-1. I think there was a penalty as well, a bit of a, I don't know, was it contentious? I don't know, but anyway, it's great to see. Yeah, both winning, that makes for a good weekend. Oh, Blackpool won, Charlton won last season. Honestly, I don't remember it, to be honest. Maybe I was fast asleep in that game. I don't remember that last season, but yeah. I'll have to watch the video back. I can't remember what happened last season. I know we lost there, didn't we? Did we lose or did we win last season at Charlton? We might have been. Did we draw at Charlton? I can't remember. It's always tough games against Charlton. They're a good side. I thought it was funny that their manager in his interview said, what did he say? He said, we were the better team. We created more chances. We had more shots on target and something else. And when you actually look at the stats, we had the most chances. We had the most shots on target. We had the most possession. It was possession, shots on target and chances. And he was saying that Charlton had the most and they deserved to win, but they hadn't. Blackpool had, on the stats, Blackpool were the better side. Yeah, Freddie Abram on Facebook says it's a shame Ennis wasn't a permanent. If he does well, other teams will come sniffing in the summer. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, he's Stoke's player, and they'll want as much money as I don't know how much Stoke have paid for him, but they won't give him away, will they? And it all depends on how much he enjoys it here. I always feel this thing with loans, and I like loans when they're great. I think we all do, when they're great, and we love them. But I always have this thing in my mind where I think, don't fall in love. Do not fall in love with these players, whatever you do, because you're only going to get your heart broken at the end of the season. Just enjoy them for what they do and what they can create. And who knows, if we do have an amazing run. I mean, somebody was saying that I read on A View from the Tower this morning that where we are now, the position we are now, and the points away from the playoffs, it was like April last year. So we're like miles ahead. we're only 6 points off the playoffs, and it took us to April last year to get 6 points off the playoffs, and we nearly did it. So there's a long way to go. There's a lot of games to go, and if Blackpool can get into a run of form, and when you look at them, honestly, we are as good as any team. We've played all the top teams, haven't we? And we haven't, only Wrexham we lost to, and we shouldn't have done. We were robbed at Wrexham. And would you still like to see somebody coming in before the end of the transfer window tomorrow? Would you still like, and what would you like? Post in the comments, what would you like us to sign if we did sign anybody? Do we need another midfielder, do you think? I mean, Sonny Carey's suddenly become like a new player, hasn't he? He's playing fantastic. Whether Bruce is playing him in the role that he's more born to do, because he's driving that ball forward, and he's not been doing that, has he? But he is really having a go at him. Another thing that people were talking about on View for the Town this morning is, should we have brought Evans on in the second half? Should we have maybe swapped Albie Morgan out for Evans? And would that have won us the game? I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, he was full of running. I do agree that Niall Ennis, he looked dangerous, didn't he? He really looked dangerous. I've got to say, I was thinking, this looks like a Premier League player we just brought on. Yeah, but it was a good game. I mean, they were a good team as well. I wouldn't like to play them in the playoff final, to be honest. I just like automatic. Can we just win every game to the end of the season and go up automatic? Oh, God. Sam Thompson, do you think Rose will go before tomorrow? Do we need anyone to replace anyone else that's left? I know a lot of people have said, he can go and get him off the payroll and all the rest. But I think Rhodes has fallen in love with Blackpool and the whole place, and he's in a very happy place, or he was in a very happy place before he got injured. And I feel that Rhodes works with the strikers, and I believe he's got an incredible amount of knowledge, and I believe he is one of those elite strikers that come along, once in a blue moon. And I know we've already seen him at the end of his career, but I imagine he was unbelievable early on, and I think he's got an amazing amount of knowledge. I think he said himself, he's not a natural goal scorer, but he practices and practices, and he's always he's always practiced every kind of shot, and he called his foot like a golf club where he can chip it, or and he just can make that decision in an instant. And I think if we keep Rhodes on the coaching staff and he becomes like a striking coach, I wouldn't get rid of him. I'd keep him all day long. And I think his influence around the dressing room, and I still think, if you were like, the problem that we have at the moment, Blackpool, is we can't get ahead enough to be, just imagine if that had been like, if we had been 3-0 up at half time and we hadn't fallen asleep, and we'd have got maybe another goal and gone 4-0 up with like 20 minutes to go, you could bring Rhodes on then, you know what I mean? And he could have a go with some of these players and see if they can feed him, because he knows where to be. And he doesn't always need all that pace because he knows where to be. So if he got fed decent balls, you could bring him on. But we're never in that. We're never comfortable. It is so stressful watching Blackpool. We're always hanging on some way, or we're 3-0 up and then we let a goal in, or 2-0. It's all the same. We're always kind of hanging on at the end. And I always thinking, I'd just love to be just cruising a game and bring him on and let him. I reckon he'd get a goal. So no. I hope he doesn't go, and I don't think he will, but who knows? I don't know. The answer, Sam. Darren Harvey's here. Hi, Darren. Thinks Jordan will be sent out on loan. I don't know. I don't know if he will. I think Gabriel's he's still one of my favourite players. The problem is he can't get in because of Fire's playing so well. But you got to have cover for a Fire, and Jordan Gabriel is cover on that, as a right back, and I think he's I think he's quality. I do. I still think he's quality. In fact, I think he could move up into midfield sometimes. You know, I think you could put him on in midfield. You know, if you needed to shore up midfield, put him in there because he's fast. He's so fast. We're looking at a Polish keeper. Well, I hope he's a good one. There's parts of our keeper that I don't like. You know, he's all right at times, isn't he? He's okay, but he flaps a bit at crosses, and it just worries me. And I think the first goal that they got, I mean, Tyra, he just had a chance to. He kind of faffed at it. It was coming over, and he kind of just pushed it out to their player. And if he could have just like flicked it over the bar, the goal would have never happened. And he had a chance to just flick it over the bar, but he pushed it. You know, he flapped, and he kind of flapped it straight to them. And that's the only thing that worries about him. But I think he's got better as a keeper. You know, I do think he's got better. A keeper in Owen Moxon, yeah. Well, he would be. I was pretty excited about him coming in the first place. Was he the lad that was at Carlisle? I think he was at Carlisle, wasn't he? And he looked a good player. He's another tall player as well, isn't he? So, yeah, I wouldn't mind him. And yeah, I'm kind of a keeper. I'll say I'm not 100% on Harry Tyra. Yeah, keep Jordan as a coach. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry, when you were talking about Jordan, you're talking about, yeah, Jordan Rose, not Jordan Gabriel. Yeah, we did get the right manager in Bruce. There was quite a few people when I did the video about, you know, we've got Steve Bruce. There was quite a lot of people coming in from other teams that he's played for, just kind of that he's managed, just laughing at us and saying, "Oh, you know, you'll see, Bruce is a nightmare" and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's a little bit unfair, especially the Newcastle fans, because I know it wasn't great up there, but he is. And you can, you know, there's no doubt about it. He's a great manager. He's so knowledgeable in the game, and he's so lovely, isn't he? He's one of those managers that you actually want to listen to when he's doing his, you know, when he's doing his after the match talk or his pre-match, whatever. You know, you can understand why the players like him and are playing for him. I like the way he's playing. I like the way it is more exciting, and he when he came, you could see he was really enjoying being at Blackpool, and it was such a shame. I've said it many times about what's happened with his grandson and everything, but and I think if that hadn't have happened, I think we'd be right up near the top, because he's just turned it completely around, hasn't he, since he's come back. He's only lost 2 games since he come back. I know he's not getting these wins, but I don't blame Steve Bruce, to be honest, because he has got us playing well, and I think Blackpool are a really hard team to play against, and I think, you know, we've got a lot of like easier games coming up. I mean, nothing's easy, but we're not playing the top of the league all the time now, and I think this could be a special season. Just get that feeling. Yeah, we do play some good football, not just Route 100. No, it is. I came out buzzing. I don't know what you were like. It felt like a win. I know it wasn't a win. The penalty and everything would have just been the ultimate, wouldn't it? It would have been the best video I've ever made, because I was going mental at the equaliser, but if we'd have scored a winner, I'd have been going absolutely, you know, mental. If it had been a penalty, I could have, like, you know, you'd have got my live reaction to it, which would have, well, you got my live reaction to the second, but I would have definitely had another live reaction, wouldn't I, with the penalty. But yeah, it was really good, and I was buzzing. I came out, and I felt the second half was one of the best games of football I've watched at Bloomfield Road in years. It was just so good, man. It was amazing, and we did deserve to win. I don't agree with the Charlton manager at all. Blackpool deserved to win. Yeah, wouldn't we all, Freddie? We'd love us to sign Baggett and a fire in the summer, but it's not going to happen. And I'm trying not to, you know, this Baggett's class, isn't he? Even the block he did right at the end. I don't know if you watched my video yet, but oh god, I thought that guy was going to score. You know, he come down, cut inside the box, and he was coming in. I was like, no! I could just see he's going to score. God, it was so strange. If you watch the video, you'll hear how stressed I was. And Baggett got a great block in. You know, he just blocked it. It was superb. You know, he's one of those that really puts his life on the line, and that's the kind of centre half you like. It will be nice to see Lyons back in the team. I hope he does get back, because he's a good player. Yeah, that's another one. If he came back, they don't want to rush him back because it's been a bad injury, hasn't it? It's really been a bad injury. But yeah, I think everybody would like to see him back in the team. But yeah, is he left back, Lions? Does he play left? Or right? I always thought he was like a right back, but he's not gonna. He's got a fire to get past, isn't he? And he's amazing. Right, back onto the YouTube. I'll have to go back. Just go back a bit because I've been on Facebook. Yeah, WG fan says if you want to see entertainment, take a look at Fleetwood against Morecambe yesterday. Right. Probably won't, if I'm being honest. Not really bothered about Fleetwood too much, no matter how good they are. Good to see them they got beat today, I think, as well. So after beating top of the league, they then lose to Morecambe. But Morecambe need to fight for it. I quite like little Morecambe. You know, they're all right, Morecambe. James Wood Joinery says, hi Lee, told you Ennis would make an impact. Loved being a part of that crowd yesterday. Yeah, I'm sure you did. I think we all did. And yes, Ennis did definitely make an impact. He was amazing. And I love being a part of it as well. It was rocking, wasn't it? At the end, Bluefield Road was really rocking, and hopefully that brings people back again. You know, if we can get a win at Burton, you know, then we're going to get another big crowds again coming. The crowds are going to grow. It feels better when the North Stand's bouncing. You know what I mean? And that honestly, the scenes, you know, I mean, I was just going mental when the second went in, but then when I watched the highlights yesterday, you just saw the North Stand going absolutely ballistic when that ball went in, because it was so, you know, it come back off the bar, didn't it? And you could feel that, oh no, and just he rifled it in, and honestly, the North Stand just went up like a blowing firework. It was amazing. It must, honestly, as a football player, you know, he's just come on, Ennis from Stoke, and he's been getting, you know, they didn't like him and he wasn't scoring, and he, you know, it's all a bit down, isn't it? And they're kind of struggling against relegation. You know what it's like when it's horrible. The atmosphere becomes toxic, and he's come on and he's hit that winner, and he's the roar from that North Stand. He's got for, oh my God, you know what I mean? He must. It must be something special to do that, honestly. I can't even imagine what the feeling's like when that happens, you know, just because it is so loud, that North Stand. It is like scoring at like a Premier League ground. The noise is incredible. James Ward Joinery says, Carey Defo has a newfound energy. Great to see the two new boys score. Absolutely. Beasley hitting the bar, and I'm still rooting for Bloxham to score at home. Yeah, he didn't really do much yesterday, did he? He was, if anything, he was not disappointing. He was all part of it, but I just wanted him to really, you know, show us what he can do at home like he has away. And I think if he'd have had a great game, whether they were just marking everybody out of the game, and you know, they just had the measure of us, and you know, they were well drilled as to what to stop. But they did stop us, but they couldn't stop us. You know, they couldn't stop us getting 2 goals, could they? So great. Yes, we did, Gary. We did play Saturday afternoon, but Burton Albion. Yeah, it's on Saturday, isn't it now? Yeah, is that what you mean? And yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Jordan Rhodes to get a hat trick. David Wellner said Rhodes has been linked with Mansfield, Burton, and Bradford. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? Whether they'll keep him on just because they want him to be part of the coaching staff. My dad said he wasn't looking happy at the last away game at Lincoln. Shame, I love the guy. I hope he stays and gets some game time. You were talking about Jordan Gabriel or Jordan Rhodes? Because I was talking about Jordan Gabriel. I think they were talking about, I think the comment was about Jordan Rhodes going, actually. So I don't think maybe Gabriel's not going anywhere. James Wood joining us. I'd love to sign a fire. Also, NEC will make an impact its confidence with Harry. Yes, it is, but you think he'd be getting more confidence because he hasn't been letting in. You know, we have been winning, and he's been keeping clean sheets and stuff. But I just think he's not confident on crosses, and you know, I just don't think he is, and it's a It's a worry, and like I say, if he'd have just flicked it over the bar instead of pushing it back out to them, they wouldn't have scored that first. Do I reckon Mox will sign? I've no idea. I've no idea. I never know with these things whether they come from a rumour on A View from the Tower that some journalist picks up somewhere and it becomes a thing. All I do know is that Blackpool generally keep things pretty tight to the chest. I mean, I know now Ennis has been, that has been rumoured for a long time, so I didn't even think that was going to happen, so I was really pleased when it did. And after seeing him yesterday, I'm very pleased that it did. Yeah, you'd love to see the north from my angle. I was in the north and it was mental. God, yeah. God, yeah. Yeah, I did do, if we're getting close, I keep thinking I may do a Moretti lounge. I've thought about it a few times, and if we're getting up there, I may go in the Moretti lounge, and then you will see the north front, but I won't actually be in it. You know what I mean? I won't. It's difficult. It's certainly difficult with a guest. If I'm bringing a former player, he's a bit old and he's having to stand all the way through in the north stand. It's it's difficult for them if they're older. It's a lot easier if I get them sat down. It's a lot easier to do all the sort of talking to camera as well when you sat down rather than being stood up. It's not quite as easy, but I could still do it. I wouldn't mind doing it, to be honest. I must admit, I was very jealous yesterday of the North. I just thought, God, I would have loved to have been in that. I would have loved to have been in that on Saturday. It was good enough. It was good enough where I was. It's sometimes, like Carl Crompton said, an idiot abroad, he said sometimes the people that live in the caves that are looking at the mansion have the better view than the people in the mansions looking at the caves. And, you're looking at the south stand and I'm looking at that north stand going, like, you just see it go up, you know what I mean? It's a goal because you just see the north stand from the south. You just see it go, because you can't always see what's going on down the far end. When a ball goes in, you just see it going mental, It's just looking at it from the south, it's incredible. But then again, being in it is something special. Yes, according to the table, we are now above Mansfield, and they beat us, didn't they? And they looked a good side, didn't they, on that day? We didn't play well against Mansfield. That was a disappointing game. I didn't think we played well in that game. I think that was like Bruce's worst game. I thought we'd win there and we didn't. Let's see if there's anything on Facebook. Sorry, let's go back to Facebook. Oh, he's a left back, is he? I've seen him playing on the right, I'm sure I have, but yeah, he's a left back. Well, if he's a left back, yeah, it would be good, because I sometimes think Husband, although I love James Husband, I just sometimes think he's just not got the pace, and he can be skinned on that side. I think Lyons, I sometimes worry whether Jim Husband can, keep going at this relentless pace, playing week in, week out. I think he probably would like a rest and just to come on a bit later, but he is the captain, and yeah, you can't fault Jim Husband, can you? He's been brilliant. I mean, he's come up with some great goals this season as well. Yeah, it did. Honestly, it did, and that's one of the things that Graham Oates said. When we looked at the bench, and Bestie, so we had a strong bench yesterday. You knew it was a strong bench, and you looked at it, you thought, flipping heck, that is a strong bench. You know what I mean? And so it proved. I thought Bruce did a lot of good things actually with his substitutions yesterday, and I like the way, to be honest, he took Husband off and he brought CJ back as a left back, and he put Silvera up as he swapped him with CJ, because CJ wasn't really having a good game as a forward, and I think putting Sylvester on, Silvera, got a result, didn't he? Got a goal, and both sub scoring. That doesn't happen so often, does it really, at Blackpool? So yeah, he just is a good manager, isn't he? There's no getting away from it. He's a really, really good manager, and but I think I hope he stays. I hope he stays, and I hope he signs a longer contract, and I hope he has a really good end to his managerial career. That just, because he's had a bit of a rough time, hasn't he, over it? And he is such a genuinely lovely guy, isn't he? You know what I mean?
you can just tell in his interviews, and he's so softly spoken, isn't he? I'm amazed how softly spoken he is, and he's just a proper football manager, isn't he? Proper old school football manager that just, and his knowledge, second to none. I mean, he's definitely improved the defence. I just wish he could get him to wake up. I wish he'd say something to him at half time that stopped him doing what we keep doing. I mean, obviously, probably I would imagine Charlton have watched videos of us, and the manager probably has looked at it and said, look, lads, Blackpool are very suspect after half time. They fall asleep, so go at them. You can get a couple of goals. He'll have shown them the Huddersfield match and shown them what to do, and they'll have been ready. They'll have come out in that second half, and he probably, when he went out, I would imagine the team talk from Charlton, the tactics, would have been to nullify us for as long as they can and take the game to us and not let us get on top of them, which they did very well for 25 minutes without really creating anything, but they did nullify the game, didn't they? Both teams cancelled them out. Then Blackpool did get on top because we started to get a bit of grip of the game. But he'd have been saying to his team, if you can go out there and stop Blackpool scoring in the first half and keep it at 0-0, then we know they're sus when they come back out and we can get a couple of goals. So get us to half-time, 0-0. And I'd imagine at half-time he was saying, that would be his team talk at half-time, was saying, well done, lads, we got away with a few, they had a few good chances, but, typical Blackpool, they can't put the chances away. We've seen it all the time. And now go out there and you take it to them go right at them, take the game to them and you will get your rewards. And they did, didn't they? But then they didn't know about the substitutions and the way we changed it around and the way we attacked him, because they'll probably looked at loads of Blackpool second half and thinking, they're only a first half team, Blackpool. If you can get to half time, you can beat him in the second half. But, we proved him wrong on that, didn't we? We nearly won it, but I'd imagine, I'm just imagining, I don't know if you agree, but I'd imagine that was the kind of team talk they were having at Charlton. Right, back to YouTube. Let's have a look. Just got to go back a bit. Yeah, we'll have to find out until the 15th of February to prove that we can beat Mansfield. Yeah, that would be nice. I would like to get revenge for that game because I thought we really let ourselves down at Mansfield. I think we're a better team now than we were when we played Mansfield. Bob Walters is here. Hello, Bob. He's on YouTube. He says they look a really decent side. 3 wins out of the next 4 and we will be up. Well, close, won't we? We'll be, if we did another 3 wins out of 4 like we just have, yeah. Blackpool could really... Have we won 3 out of 4? 2 out of 3. Yeah, we won 2 out of 3, and we've got 7 points out of the last 3. So, yeah, if we could get another 9 points out of 12, or even 10 points out of 12, we could be really up there, couldn't we? I mean, we certainly look a team that's going to be really hard to beat. We're hard to beat, aren't we? I wouldn't like to be playing Blackpool at the moment. I don't know if you've watched my video, but I was very confident. I did my sort of intro on Thursday. Quite enjoyed it. It was a lovely day, so I went down on the promenade. It's one of the best intros I've ever done to a video, to be honest. I love the way, I love what I said, and I still stand by what I was saying. I thought Blackpool would win it, and I thought we'd have too much for Charlton, and they wouldn't be expecting this firepower we had, but they proved me wrong to some extent, but they didn't beat us, which was great. Semi-Charm Life is here. Hello, Semi-Charm Life. How are you? Greetings to you. Greetings to America. And yeah, hello chat indeed. This is Semi-Charm Life. He's a Everton fan and he follows Blackpool ever since he stopped following us in lockdown, really, didn't you? And he's stuck with us all this time. And we're like your second team, aren't we? And you keep an eye on all the Everton players all the time that Blackpool are always... we seem to have a nice link with Everton, with Keith Southern being there. And we seem to get some players. Harry Tyra, we've got him as a goalkeeper, and he's still a young kid learning. I think he will be a great keeper. He's a nice big keeper. He's just a bit floppy on crosses, but apart from that, he's getting better. He's improving, which is great to see. So maybe we'll send him back a better keeper to you when you get him back. Yes, you did predict a win for this one. I thought we'd win it as well, to be honest, but it felt like a win. It felt like a win, and it should have been a win if the referee had given us a penalty, which was a penalty, all day long. you know, the guy, you know, touched his hand, going to everybody. In fact, somebody said he actually like almost like cleared it with his hand as well because he was on the floor. But in any day, if that was in the Premier League, that would be a penalty, because that's just the way it is now. It doesn't matter about ball to hand. If it hits you in the hand in the box, you know, it's a penalty. In fact, if you Wrexham, it doesn't matter if it hits your hand or not. If it hits you on the back of the bat, you get a penalty. So it was more of a penalty than Wrexham's was. Tranmere Rovers, flipping heck. Looks like Tranmere will go down. We don't want Tranmere to go down. We like Tranmere. We've had a soft spot for you since you came, and we're fantastic. And you know, your crowd were amazing under Mickey Mellon, and well, you know that anyway. I've already said. And yeah, and it was so cruel. You went down in the COVID season where they just, you know, they just cut it off, end of season. Anybody in the bottom four is down, and there you were. And just fighting back, you would have got out of trouble. You had enough games to get yourself out of trouble. You were playing really well. You were fighting for it. And it was so sad. And you've never really recovered from it. So I feel for you, and I just hope you can turn it around. But it's tough when you get down the bottom. Yeah, we did give him Mickey Walsh. Yeah, indeed. Was he as good at Everton as he was here? I mean, that was, you know, Mickey Walsh, you know, it was a celebration of his goal on Match of the Day against Sunderland, where he scored in like the last minute of the game with an absolute wonder strike in the top corner from the right wing into the top left bins. It was an unbelievable goal, and it's like, it's funny, you know, for people who support, you know, big clubs, Premier League clubs like Man United, and they have so many like massive moments. You know, don't know if it's the same for Everton, whether they have as many magical moments as some of the really, you know, the Man Uniteds and now the Man Cities and the Arsenals and all that. And you have FA Cup finals, you've won them so many times, you know, you've won League Cup finals, they've won the Premier League, they've won in Europe, they've done all these amazing memories, you know, and yet Blackpool, the memories are just, you know, those magical moments in history are like rare. You know, you think back, the 1953 FA Cup final win is still absolutely legendary at Blackpool, and I think they've all gone now. I think all the former players, all the players that played in that cup final are now gone. And it's been, you know, there's been anniversary dinners on the 1953 cup final for years and years with all the players, and they've just gradually all died off. And then you get, you know, the Premier League season, obviously, you know, that's a memory that'll stay with everybody, winning at Wembley for Cardiff, you know, winning at Liverpool, home and away. Certain things like that, you know, will become folklore. All the playoff victories will become folklore, but they're absolute, like, they're never forgotten. Whereas I'm sure, you know, Manchester United probably, you know, they won't. There's that many FA Cup final wins that there's nothing special about them in the end, I suppose. You know, the European Cups will be more. But Mickey Walsh's goal, it's like, it's the 50-year celebration of his goal, you know, because it was on Match of the Day, because it was just so wonderful. And it's like in like the folklore of Blackpool, you know, it's like, could you imagine Manchester United having a 50-year celebration of somebody's goal on Match of the Day from 1970, whatever it was. 1975, but, you know, it's just it's a different thing following a team like Blackpool. We've had so many years of nothing that, you know, we do celebrate, even a goal, you know. And I'm sure Mickey Walsh, you know, couldn't believe that it's coming back to Blackpool 50 years later, you know, in his 70s or 8, you know, he'd be 70 odd, won't he? 75, I don't know how old he is, but he'd never believe, would he, that he'd be coming back to Blackpool for a 50th celebration of a goal, you know, and it being so massive. It's just, it's honestly, sometimes it's kind of just so lovely being a fan of, you know, of a lower league club. And Yes, you did return the favour with Ellis Sims. Indeed, you did, and he was amazing. I agree with you. But yeah, just give us an Alan Ball semi-charm life, can you? Loan us one. In fact, that's one of the things that Graham Oates was talking about Alan Ball, because Alan Ball joined the club while he was there, obviously, and he just said Alan Ball was just like was the best player Blackpool. I mean, we talk about Tony Green, but really Alan Ball was our best ever player, and he said England wouldn't have won that World Cup if they'd not had Alan Ball, because he was just unbelievable, and it's quite amazing that he came from Blackpool, isn't it? So that's another thing. Unfortunately, he died, or we'd still be celebrating that with him, wouldn't we? About he'd be still coming back to Blackpool as a and he played for he was a Blackpool player at the time of the World Cup, wasn't he? So Alan Ball of Blackpool played for England in the World Cup final. I mean, God, for a club of Blackpool's size, and some of the things we've done in history are just incredible. Stanley Matthews being the Ballon d'Or. It's just scoring the only hat-trick in the FA Cup final with Stan Mortensen. It's just these are just wonderful things, and it was great that they did a 50-year celebration of his goal. W&G fan says apparently Everton is better than Tottenham according to the Premier League table. Yeah, good to see, isn't it? Yeah, you've won 3 on the bounce. You always get half it, semi-charm life. You always end up being okay, Everton, don't they? There you go. We've won the league 9 times, says Semi-Charm Live. Hot Chickens haven't won much of anything, indeed. Yes, you've got some great memories. Back to Blackpool. Evans with a lovely goal off the crossbar. It was Ennis with a, yes, it was a lovely goal. It was a great goal, and as I've said earlier in the stream, I'm not going to keep it much longer. We've been in it nearly an hour. Yeah, you are a regular Houdiniac indeed. Yes, it was fantastic, and any Blackpool fan that watches the highlights today, watch it, because the North Stand, it's worth watching just for the North Stand when that ball hits the back of the net, and it goes in like a rocket as well, isn't it? And it's one of those that I always say, that's one of the reasons why I always have sat at the end. I always sit at an end. I never, very rarely do I watch football from side on the West Stand. I just love to be behind the goal when a rocket comes in and you see it come in and hit the back of the net. I don't think it's the same. It's good, I'm not saying it's not good in the West Stand when you watch those balls go in, but when just seeing it coming in, and when they come in like a rocket like that and they really hit them hard, it's oh my God, it makes you jump out your seat. It's unbelievable. It's really good. So that's why I always sit at the South Stand or the North Stand. I mean, we used to sit in the North Stand when there was only the North Stand. Yeah. But I've always been South Stand. We've always been Block Q with my dad. We're always Block Q in South Stand. But that's the kind of thing I miss really out of the South Stand, because it's not loud like it used to be as the South. It's now the North Stand is really loud. But all my life with my dad, we were in the South Stand. There was no North Stand, was there? It was just the South Stand, and it was so loud in the South Stand. And even the Premier League, the South Stand had it could do with the drummer, really. It could do with the drummer, because it was good when when we had the drummer in the South. It was loud in the South then. Let's go back to Facebook quickly. I don't know, was it a last-minute penalty? I think most people who've watched the highlights on Tangerine TV, the extended highlights, will confirm it definitely was. Definitely hit his hand in the box. And really, nowadays, with the way the rules are in football, if it hits your hand, it doesn't really matter if your hand's up or down. Really, it doesn't matter if it hits your hand in the box, they give a penalty. So probably if VAR had been there, they would have given a penalty, even though I don't like VAR. But it's just a shame that, We've just recently had the horror of Wrexham getting a penalty for hitting us on the back of our shirt, right in between the 1 and the 0, nowhere near his hand, and now they got a penalty for that, and we don't get a penalty there when it does hit your hand in the box, and it does feel rough justice, to be honest. It does feel rough. Freddie Abrams says, for me, Ennis and Sammy to start next game against Burton and start Bloxham on the right. Give CJ, Apter and Fletcher a rest. Yeah, it would be, I think maybe they could do with a little bit of a rest, and Apter would probably enjoy coming on for the last 25 minutes, playing against a tired defence. He may have a bit more joy. Fletcher, it would be a shame to give him a rest because he's just getting his confidence back, and I think he's a confidence player, and I think if he dropped him, it would be sad. But yeah, maybe. Although, it makes you wonder what a combination of Fletcher and Ennis would be like, from the start. It would be really good. Definitely, blocks from Fletcher, Ennis and Silvera to start, maybe. Would we go with that? Do we all agree with that? Would we like to see that? We'll stick with what we're doing. Emma Case, it'd be interesting to see where we are end of February. 3 home games in a row after Burton. Yeah, well, that's the thing. If I was really confident about the home games and we're playing amazing football at home, I'd be really buzzing for it, but we just can't seem to win. But surely that can't go on forever. We've played some really good teams recently, haven't we, in Bloomfield Road, in Charlton and Huddersfield. They've been tricky, Ricky. And, even Shrewsbury, because Bloxham was playing for them, they were hard as well, weren't they? So, yeah, I think now, I think we're a better side, and I think we will have a bit more joy at home coming up. And be Steve Bruce's first 11 with the new signing. I'm quite sure what that means. Walsh and Bob Hatton, what a striking front two. Yes, indeed. They were legendary, weren't they? Just a legendary. We've had some great players at Blackpool. Hi, Russ is looking forward to going to Bloomfield Road with Rotherham week on Tuesday. Well, yes, indeed. I'm not sure if you. Well, Rotherham are normally tricky. They're not always easy. So I don't know how you're playing at the moment. Blackpool are playing really, really well. It's not too far for you to come, is it? It's well, we haven't won at home. We haven't won at home for 6 games. We've had 6 draws on the trot. So are you going to stop that? Are you going to beat us, or are you going to lose, or is it going to be 7 draws? Be interesting to see, won't it? I always think Rotherham, are always a tricky team to play. So yeah, can't say I'm 100% confident we can win, but yeah, I'd like to. Right, I think that's it. Yeah, that's the end of the chat, of the comments. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm feeling a lot more upbeat. I said I would come on Sunday. I've got to kind of get off because my uncle's been taken into hospital. So he's in Ward 4 at the Vic. So visiting time is 2 till 4. So I'm going to go and see if I can cheer him up. He's a Blackpool fan, so he won't know the result. Well, he might know the result because I'm going to tell him in hospital. But anyway, hope he's okay. And you all take care. And thanks a lot for coming in the chat, and for those of you that weren't here for the chat, you can post in the comments below any of your thoughts on the game, and I'll answer you in the comments below. And hopefully Blackpool can go on and have a great season this season. It all starts next week at Burton Albion. We need to put last year's Burton Albion result. We need to beat Gary Bowyer as well, don't we? Take care, Sammy Charlton. Thank you very much. And Russ says you're shocking on the road, so you'll be okay. Well, we've been shocking at home, so something's got to give, hasn't it? Thanks a lot for joining me. Make sure you give the video a like, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. You know that thing, there's a little button down there, you can subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Thanks for joining in, and I'll look forward to your comments after this video. I'll be answering them. And also watch the match video. I'd say it's my favourite video in a long time, honestly. I really enjoyed it, even though it wasn't a win. If it had been the win, it probably would, you know, be top of my charts. So get it watched and get it up there and get the views on, and show it a bit of love, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot for watching.